Greetings, my name is Andy Anderson and welcome to the Zen of Design. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. This is actually my first YouTube video. I'm a published author. I've written 17 books, major published books. You can go out to Barnes & Noble, check me out if you want to. I've done major DVD training publication work for companies like InfiniteSkills.com. I love them. I do training for them in Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. I travel the United States and Canada, lecturing people and extolling the virtues of graphics, art, and design. What I'm doing here is giving back, and I don't care how corny that sounds. What I want to do on YouTube is start giving instructional videos in a very, not advanced way, but in a very Zen way. Let me describe that before you go crazy on me. There's a left and a right brain side to teaching. There are too many teachers out there. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not being derogatory in any way whatsoever. But by teaching, I mean somebody who knows, say for example, Photoshop. That's what we're talking about in this lesson. They know it backward and forward, but they don't know how to really use it in the industry. I live and work in the industry. I want to give you both sides of your brain. I want to show you a button in Photoshop and you say, well, what's this button do? I say, well, this is what it does. Oh, good. Now I know what it does, but what do I do with it? That's the right brain. Now don't let the uniform throw you. I do cook. Went to school for cooking. I do occasionally cook well, actually I do a lot of cooking, but I was in the middle of doing something. I thought I got to stop and do this. I've been planning to do this for a couple of years and it's time to do it. This particular lesson is on Photoshop, but any version. It's on selection using channels. You say, well, I kind of know that. I hope you don't know this, because I think if you see what I'm going to show you, complex selection in a channel can change a lot of ways that you do really complicated selections. You say, well, Andy, the new tools in CS5 and 5.5, they're pretty cool. I mean, some of the tools, wow, you find the edge and then modify the edge. I agree, but sometimes it requires a 20-year-old technology. Channels have been in Adobe Photoshop since the very beginning, and I'm going to show you almost a green screen way of making a complex selection actually rather easy. Now, I've talked enough. Let's get into the lesson. All right, here we go. Ready to get it on, as they say. I have a photograph of a tree. This was taken in Napa Valley in California, USA. And I like this tree. It's a happy tree. But I don't like that sky. That sky's not a happy sky. I need a different sky in there. I want something better than that. So I took a photograph of another sky. Now, we can't do everything in one lesson. So I'm going to make some assumptions. I assume you know how to move images. And I do have a photograph right here called sky. See it right down here. And if I turn this off by clicking here, you can see the sky. This is the one that I want to use to change out the sky in the other image. So let's turn this back on by clicking here. But this is not some image that has a very simple model, maybe with some hair, and you want to remove the model from the background with her hair, because there's tools in CS5 that will do that like that. And I love these new tools. This a little bit more complicated. But we're going to use a 20-year-old technology called channel selection in a very unique, almost green screen kind of way. Now look at the sky. The sky is blue. I mean, there are clouds back there, but skies are typically blue. We are working on an RGB image, and RGB images have the colors red, green, and blue. So it's an ideal color to try to bring out. Some skies would be bluer, obviously, and I'm going to date myself by saying this. But the bluest sky I think I've ever seen in my life to this day was when I stepped off the airplane in Saigon to do my tour of duty in Vietnam. So that dates me, obviously. But to this day, that was the bluest sky I've ever seen. Everything kind of went downhill from that point forward. Let's go into something called channels. They're right here. Layers, channels, paths. Channels and layers and paths, to me, are the trilogy of power in this program. Channels controls color. Where on an RGB image, it makes sense that the colors would be red, green, and blue. If it were CMYK, they'd be different. The color blue dominates in a blue sky. Again, we're looking for a color to dominate. But if you've never been here before, if you click on red, it doesn't go like to the color red. it changes into these different grayscale images. So without trying to get into too much of what channels are, understand that you're looking at the percentage of the color blue based on light and dark. Darker means less, lighter means more, in a value between 0 and 255. If a pixel, remember there's millions of pixels in this thing, if a pixel has a value of 0, that would mean it's black to my eye, but it would mean there's no blue with the other two colors. Blue, look at how light that sky is. What am I looking for out of these three? I'm looking for a silhouette. I'm looking for lightning in a bottle. This won't always work. What I call doing what we're doing, looking at the three channels and looking for one where one thing, and that would be the stuff that you want, opposed to the stuff that you don't want, the sky, is very different in shades of gray. I call this 3 strikes and you're out. Now in our case, blue is the channel. What do? Make a copy of it. Very easy. Drag it down on top of this new icon right there. If you click on the new icon, you make a blank channel. If you drag a channel on top, you make a copy, because we do not want to work on the color blue. It'll change the image. We need a copy. Next thing, everything about that tree and this bush and this ground needs to be black. And everything about the sky, no matter where it is, needs to be white. That's the mask. How do you do that? It's very easy. Select blue copy, go up to the word image on the pull-down menu and go down to adjustments and select threshold. This is where the value of the brightness of the pixel comes in. Any pixel can be from 0 to 255, and that in a sense is also the percentage of the color of the ink. If I move this slider, it changes the value of where black and white exist. If I go this way, I create a nice pen and ink drawing, I suppose. Let's go this way. What we're trying to do is get that tree masked out. All the little leaves, stuff like this up here, and I like that. Actually, that's not too bad. Go ahead and click OK. This was probably difficult for you to see, but there are a couple of little specks of white where there's real light areas in the ground, and I don't need those because those represent selection. So I'm going to pick up my good old paintbrush tool right over here, and I'm going to come over here and just paint over those areas. That's all I'm going to do. And again, that might be very difficult for you to see in this YouTube video, but there's little speckles of white. What I'm trying to do is create a perfect silhouette. So I've got little areas like in here, see that area right there? That's where the sky peeks through, and that's white. Areas over here, all these areas, everything is perfect. We now have our mask. Go back and click RGB right there. Now that brings back the image. We need to use this mask to make a selection. So we're going to go up to the word select, makes sense, on the pull-down menu and go down to load selection. And in load selection, we only have really one thing, our blue copy. Select, it's the only one we got. Leave everything else alone. Click OK. Now watch what happens. Those white areas become a precise selection. Let's go back to layers by clicking here. Make sure we have Napa tree selected. And although I might actually do a layer mask on this, just press delete. Just press the backspace key in Windows delete key on a Mac. And actually, no, let's do this first. Let me turn off sky. Make that more dramatic. Go ahead and click delete now. Check that out. That is a perfect selection. Going around the trees, going around the leaves, everything. And if we then come back over here and turn on sky, look at that. If I come over here and select sky, come over here and pick up my move tool right up here, I can actually move the sky. Look at that. It's perfect. A perfect selection. Using channels, they won't always work, but oh man, when they do, they are amazing. Using a channel to make a precise selection, even around leaves in a tree. Amazing. So what did you think? Okay, I want to know what you thought. I want you to leave some comments. If you didn't like it, that's fine. Let me know. Go out to my websites. List right here. Leave me an email on something you would like to learn, and I will do my dead level best to make a video for you to teach you how to do it. That's my goal on YouTube. The Zen of design, or whatever you want to call it, left and right brain skills working together for your success in the industry. This is Andy Anderson saying, keep the faith and keep learning.